Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director of Mobile County Public Schools. Studio today we have from Theodore High School baseball coach Bo Smith and softball coach Michael Walters. But first, let's get to the scoreboard. In boys baseball, Theodore swept the series with Alma Bryant 9-4, 10-0, and 12-9. Davidson lost to Saraland 13-2. Baker took 2 of 3 with MGM winning 9-6 and 5-2, with the Vikings winning the last game 2-0. Blunt lost to Saraland 16-1 and 14-0. Rain lost an area game to Faith Academy 10-0. In girls softball, Alma Bryant took 3 games, beating Jeff Davis 3-2, Hillcrest Tuscaloosa 10-8, and Davidson 9-1. Central lost to Saraland 3-0. Murphy lost to Satsuma 9-3. Davidson defeated McGill-Tulane 4-2 and Excel 8-6. Baker defeated Murphy 16-2. Smith Station 9-2. Jeff Davis 10-2 and Clark County 8-1. Theodore defeated Clark County 2-1 behind a one-hitter from Eddings. Franklin led MGM over Mobile Christian 12-3. And that is it for this week's scoreboard. After this message, we'll be back with our first guest.
Nonviolence will start with me.
Nonviolence will start with me.
All across the Mobile County public school system, students are taking the pledge.
I pledge to accept the responsibility of my actions.
To solve problems peacefully.
Respect myself and others.
The 100 Days of Nonviolence Pledge. It's an initiative to help explore alternative means of stopping violence among school students. Will you take the challenge? Get involved. Take a stand. 100 Days, 100 Ways.
Smartboard, that's wrong.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to energy-saving bulbs. Saving energy saves you money. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to our first segment. We have Coach Walters from Theodore High School, the softball coach. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Enjoy it.
Coach, tell us about your first year at Theodore High School.
It's been really tough replacing somebody that's been there for 15, 16, 17 years, and the changes that we're having to go through to grow as a program, it's tough, but my girls have responded, and they play hard, and right now we're 13-8 and we're looking good in the area still.
Coach, coming in, and you mentioned following Coach Murray, who had been there for so long, coming into a situation like that where the expectations are high, y'all expected to win every year. How do you handle those expectations?
We handle them with hard work and explain to the girls that if they work hard, then we'll be competitive. And as long as we're competitive, then we'll get the wins that we need to get where we want to be.
Coach, tell us a little bit about the big tournament this weekend with Baker through a big tournament. I don't know, there was how many teams was there? I know it was a lot. You want to talk a little bit about the tournament?
It was, it was a big tournament. I think it was 16 to 18 teams, and it was started out with pool play on Friday. Had a lot of big ranked schools. Had Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa come in, Clark County came in, a lot of bigger schools. Obviously Baker, MGM, people like that. We won our first game, beat Clark County. Had a really good pitcher. We beat them 2-1. We lost to Hillcrest in the bottom of the 7th at midnight. Matter of fact, I was really tired, and I trying just to stay awake at that point. And then the next day we came out, we beat Citronelle 4-2, made it to the quarterfinals of the tournament and beat Mobile Christian. Then we ended up losing again to Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, who's the number 2 or 3 team in 6A in the state. And they had a pitcher signed with Shelton State, just pitched against us twice, and we did we competed against her as hard as we could. And I was really happy with the way my girls showed up and played this weekend.
Coach, talking about teams all over the state, and you've played them from all over the state, do you find the competition down here ahead of the rest of the state or behind or about the same?
I think that the competition down here is probably as good as it gets all over the state. You know, we've been to Troy, I've been to Central Alabama. I played a couple of teams from Birmingham, from the Montgomery area, and I think the competition and the coaching and everything down here is the best, as good as it gets.
Coach, and talking about the tournaments, we have a lot of teams that'll stay here in Mobile and play one another. What are the benefits from going off and traveling to these tournaments out of town? What does your team get out of it?
Well, I think that it creates a team bond, but it also lets you face some adversity because you're going to their place. You get their umpires, and sometimes they're not going to call for you.
Right.
And so they have to learn how to say, okay, this is not our place. This is how we have to approach it. It's got to be a business-like atmosphere. You go out, you perform, and you're done.
Coach, I know you had last year was with the pitcher, Devin Brown. She was one of the best pitchers we've had from this area. I know you had to replace her. How have you gone about it this year, replacing that big person that you could just plug in there every game almost?
First off, you can't replace a girl like
Right.
Devin Brown. She's a great player. She's amazing. She was amazing to the team, amazing to the girls. But, you know, I told them that we have to make it up as a team, you know, so we have to execute the small things. We have to bunt well. We have to hit and run. We have to do the things that give us a chance to win very well so that we can compete differently. So we have to play hard. We don't have that person to go out there and save us. It's going to be a team effort constantly. So our big themes are character, discipline, and being a team. And if we can do that, then we can compete.
You're right. Coach, talk a little bit about your area, the teams involved, and how you ranked with them. Pretty tough area, isn't it?
We probably have the toughest area there is. Obviously, you know, you got Baker. You know, Baker's always there. Baker's always good. And, you know, there's been some coaching turnover in the area, but, you know, Bryant's a great team. MGM's a great team. You know, Davidson's up and coming team. Right now we're 1-2 in the area, but we have a very big week coming up from us. We got Bryant at Bryant on Tuesday, and we have MGM on Thursday, you know, which is 2 area games. If we win both of them, we'll be 3-2 in the area and back in, you know, trying to get to a regional. You know, if we don't show up this week, then we're going to be in trouble.
Coach, in talking about your players, do your players play a lot of travel ball or summer ball, or I know you're new to the program. Have you found out what they're doing in the off season? They usually play travel ball, which, you know, I encourage them to go play. But I'm going to introduce a weightlifting program for the summer where we come up and we practice. We're going to use the weeks that the High School Athletic Association gives us. We're going to try to play as a team. We're going to lift. We're going to throw. We're going to hit. We're going to try to work on the stuff that we already have and take it a little bit further. Because most of my program, most of my starting lineup is sophomores. Like I think I have four sophomores that are starting right now. And I have a very young JV team, a couple of 7th graders, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, and like I said, we're just going to keep building on what we have with the weightlifting program and an auxiliary program in the summer. Coach, you bring up a good point with the weightlifting program. Even 10 years ago, we didn't hardly hear of females in the weight room, or even some of our boy sports in the weight room. It's got to be a necessity, hasn't it, almost?
Yes.
And when you put them in the weight room, what are you actually trying to get out of it? I know, say football, there's a lot of benching and I can bench this and that. I know it's different with softball. Tell us a little bit about how that's different from the others.
That's a great question. It's because I had to ask myself that going into it when I left, you know, baseball. And, you know, I decided, and when I talked around, I asked a couple of people at South. I asked a couple of people at, I'm lucky to have some friends that coach softball in North Alabama. And they told me that it's power yet staying flexible. So it's basically a modified football workout where we do lift for power. That's one thing, you know, a lot of them had to get over. But we do lift for power, but we stay flexible. So we run and we stretch and we stay away from lifting over our head or anything like that. And it's catching on. I know I've talked to several girls coaches that are doing the same thing I'm doing.
I guess in all of our sports, I guess flexibility is probably the number one thing in all of them, even with the football in basketball. So I think you've done good. Coach, when you get into these tournaments, say the sub-states, the one in Gulf Shores, they changed the name up so quick on them that I forget about it. What are your expectations going into these tournaments with your kids? And you've got a young group this year,
Yes,
so
yes.
It's probably going to change a little bit, isn't it,
Yeah.
with them not being there before?
Yeah, it's I want to compete. I just want to compete. I want to play hard, and they know that, and that's I just expect you to play hard. You know, and it's not another way to say it. Do it with character. We do it the right way, and we're going to play hard.
Coach, who are some of your top players this year?
I have a center fielder. Her name's Bailey Bolt. She's hitting about 620. She's got 7 home runs, 20 RBI. She just came off a area game with Davis. She hit 2 home runs in the same game. You know, she's been up for Player of the Week in AL.com several times. I also have my shortstop, Tyler Abbott. She's a great player, hitting above 300. Can bunt it on a dime. She made probably 2 errors all year long. My pitcher, Riley Evans, I have to say something about her. She's the one that had to step up and replace Devin, and you know, and that comes with the price, you know. She's not Devin, but she has given everything she can. She keeps us competitive. You know, she's had some rough spots, but you know, who's not going to? But she's been great for us, and I could have not asked anything more out of her, especially following Devin.
All right, Coach, we're going to have Coach Smith on here in just a second, then we'll have you back in our last segment. We'll be back right after this message.
It started with me at Murphy High School when I came here as a freshman in 1973. I was very interested in math and science already before I came to Murphy. From Murphy High School, I was appointed to the U.S. Naval Academy, was able to get my college degree and also my commission in the U.S. Navy from the Naval Academy. But it truly was the foundation that I gained here at Murphy High School that allowed me to take advantage of that great opportunity.
Welcome back to our next segment. We have the baseball coach from Theodore High School, Coach Bo Smith. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Coach, you are one of our veteran coaches. You've been around a long time and have always done a great job down at Theodore. And I want to ask you the same question I asked Coach Walters. It seems you have a top-rate team every year. And how do you keep those expectations up for your baseball program? Because you're up there where, you know, the community expects you to win and hopefully the kids expect to win, and I know you do. So how do you handle all that?
Yeah, I mean, we just show up, you know, every year, and, you know, sports have gotten down to where it's a year-round thing, and so I tell our guys, hey, we love the expectation. We expect to win. You know, we're at Theodore, and we should be competing for championships and area championships, and that's what we expect. The kids work hard, and we set goals at the beginning of the year, and we try to win the Hank Aaron tournament and win the area, and then hopefully go in the playoffs and hopefully win a state championship. That's our goal every year.
Coach, talk a little bit about your career. I think most of it's been at Theodore, hasn't it?
Yeah, I started out when I started out coaching with Coach Andrews at Baker, and that's where I played high school, and man, I learned a lot from him. He was a great guy.
A legend.
He was a legend. He was a player's coach, you know, and when I played for him and when the players played for him and I was coaching, that's probably the biggest thing I learned. You wanted to play for him and give you all for him, and that's what I try to be a player's coach, and get our kids to play hard and tell them to realize, hey, you're playing for Theodore High School, and you need to give everything you got, and when you leave, you know, and you're done, that, hey, you know, you gave everything you did, win or lose. But I coached Baker for 3 years, and then I took over and coached the JV team here at Theodore for 3 years, and then I've been the varsity coach the last 11 years out here.
And Coach, you followed, who did you follow?
Greg Connor was there.
Greg
before.
Connor,
Yes,
that's
sir.
right, great guy. He's doing a good
Yeah,
job
I learned a lot from
over
Greg
at
also,
Carver.
yeah.
He really is. Coach, talk a little bit about your series. Big series this weekend. Of course, Coach Sprinkle does a great job with Brian, and you was able to sweep him. Talk a little about your series.
Yeah, David's one of the best coaches in the area. He really is, and actually me and him started, we're about the same age, and we started coming up the last 11 years, so us and Brian and him and I has battled each other every year, and it usually, you know, the last few years it's come down to us, them, and Baker, and the new classification with the 7A, you know, Area 1 is, like Coach Walter said, it's tough. You know, Baker, Bryant, MGM, Davison, and it's going to be a dogfight all year. But we had a good series with them. We were 3-0, and he's got a young team. You know, he had a great team last year and lost a lot of players. And our guys, we challenged them this week to you know, to step up and have a good series. And we're 4-0 in the area right now. So I'm proud of our guys, but we still have a long ways to go.
Yes, and the season's actually kind of winding down, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the regular season is, but we still have MGM, you know, in 2 weeks, and then finish up with Baker. So we still have a long ways to go. No, it doesn't get easier. And I told our kids, you know, they're worn out after this weekend, but I told them, said, hey, Monday comes, we got to get back after it and keep working and keep getting better.
Coach, we have got an outstanding group of baseball coaches. We mentioned Coach Sprinkle, and of course Coach Andrews come along, and Coach Glover at Baker does a great job. Coach Touchdown. I mean, we've got.
It's amazing.
It's amazing the coaches that we have down here.
Well, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know, that's one thing I've seen change since I've been coaching over these 11 years. I don't think there's a varsity program in this area that doesn't have a guy that's coaching baseball that's not a baseball guy.
Right,
you know,
right.
They're
Makes
all
a difference.
Exactly, and it was a big difference when I played, and over the years of us, you know, growing through it. But there's some great coaches, Mobile and Baldwin County, you know, and it's competitive, and everybody works year round, and I mean, if you got a good team, you got to have good players, and so, but it's a battle every week.
Coach, have you played anybody from out of this area, Mobile, Baldwin County, this year?
Yeah, we went on a road trip. We've done this the last 5 years, and we went to Smith Station and played American Christian and Smith Station, and played Central Phoenix and Enterprise, and we played those teams up there, and we Smith Station beat us, and we beat ACA, and Central came back and beat us late in the game. We beat Enterprise, but those 4 teams, all those teams could compete and play, you know, in any region, and that's a good thing for our guys. We try to do it. You know, a lot of kids don't get to do stuff like that. They get excited, and that's why I kind of made it a point to try to go out of town and stay in a hotel, and it makes your team come together, and it's a great time. And I love doing it. We're going to keep continuing to do it and try to play as good a teams as I can. You know, that's what every year when I make our schedule, I try to play as good a teams as there is. You know, Mobile County, Baldwin County, and that's the only way we're going to get better. You know.
Coach, when you do go off and play, you mentioned those 3 or 4 teams there. It kind of stretches your pitching staff a little bit, doesn't it?
We played 4 games in 2 days, and we usually have to pull up a JV kid up and give them some experience, which it helps them down the road.
Right,
you know?
you're right.
And so it's tough, you know, and sometimes you go up there and take your lumps because some teams are playing 2 games. But, you know, I tell our guys, I said, it's not about the wins and losses. You know you want to win, but if they go out there, compete, and execute, and get after and play hard every game, you know, the score's going to take care of itself most of the time. And that's what I try to emphasize with our guys.
Coach, when you get to the playoffs, with 7A having less teams, is there a gap in there that y'all skip like football and basketball did?
We actually have a week, the first week when 6A through 1A is playing the first round of playoffs, we actually have a bye week, which is, you know.
Is that good or bad?
Well, that's what our coaches are we're not liking it because we don't get to play a game for 12, 13 days after our last game. So it's going to be, we're going to have to try to work that out and try to
Right.
schedule. You don't want to practice for 13 days. Your guys will be
Exactly.
burnt out. So that's something we're going, and we hadn't really got it exactly figured out, but that's something we're going to look at down the road and try to figure out.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more when we come back.
Okay.
And after this message, we'll be back with Coach Walters and Coach Smith.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
So, Nicholas, how was your day at school today?
It was great. We had fun in class today.
So, what did you do differently today at school? I mean, anything, any new projects?
We got a progress report today.
You got your progress reports today? So, how did you do?
Don't know.
You don't know. That's okay. We can check that right here. Wow. Nicholas.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back to our last segment. We brought Coach Walters back with Coach Smith. We're talking about softball and baseball at Theodore High School in our county. And Coach, I want to talk a little about some of your players.
Yeah. I have 5 seniors this year, and they're one of the biggest reasons why our record's so well and what we've done this year. Those guys have really been playing since 9th and 10th grade. And we've kind of been looking forward to this senior class because those guys have done a lot for us and have played a lot of games for us. And Peyton Jones is a senior. He's batting .500 this year for us. Kyle Kirchen's our shortstop. He's had a great year. Jordan Taylor's our #1 pitcher, and he's undefeated this year. He's done well, and so all our seniors have done a good job for us, and we couldn't be here without those guys.
Are you going to have any of them to sign, Coach? Do you know yet?
Jordan Taylor is signed with LBW in Andalusia, so he signed. And the other guys, we have Chase Flores and Chase Curley. They're great seniors too, and they've had great years. And really, all of them should sign and could sign. And a couple of those kids are really good academically, and they may not even play baseball. They've told me they're going to wait and see that they have 4.0s and 3.9s.
Oh, that's great.
So we've got it, and really, 12 out of our 13 kids on our team has got a 3.0 GPA or above. So we've got some really smart kids, and they're going to be really successful, baseball or not, for sure. So
That's
I'm proud of
great.
those guys on that.
Yeah, I know you are. Coach Walters, I know you got a young team. Will you have anybody you think that might sign?
I do. I have my second baseman go to Faulkner. She's a good player, plays hard. I believe my pitcher, I was talking to you earlier about Riley Edens. I believe Wallace Dothan is looking at her. I think they call me every other week asking about her, make sure. And I got a couple others there. Caitlin Danley, she probably should sign somewhere. And, I think that's Ashley McNorton. I think she's just going to walk. She's going to try to walk on at Sanford, I believe. But she's got a couple of people asking about her. So, but yeah, I've got a few that'll sign. The few seniors I have, I only have 3 or 4 seniors. So, but the ones I have, they're going to go on. They have every chance to play at the next level.
And Coach, you know more about this than I do, but the junior college competition in Alabama is unbelievable. Some of these JUCO teams could compete with some of these 4 years, couldn't they? I know you have these scouts come through our college coaches, but the level is really high in junior college, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I went out of high school to LBW also and played junior college, but yeah, it's competitive. You know, there's great teams, and some of the best players go to those junior colleges and compete and get drafted out of there. So and that's what, you know, Faulkner State and LBW and Jeff Davis and Alabama Southern, they have D1 players every year signed from there. So there's great teams, great players for sure out of those programs.
Coach Walters, sometimes I get a little concerned with our middle schools and our high schools, and especially with y'all's situation where y'all got a direct feeder pattern. Have you got plans to work with them? And I know in the past we have worked, but I think we need to do more with our middle schools, don't we, in order for them to move up.
One thing I did learn from this man, I worked for this guy for 10 years, and one thing that he did teach me is you go and you reach down as far as you can, and I'll offer them the same summer program that I offer my older girls, just slightly modify the weights and stuff. But I would love to get them as young as I can. They play on my field, you know. They practice on my field every once in a while to where I can see them. I was there during the trials. So, you know, like I said, it was, you know, yes, I think the combination is good, and we got to go reach out and teach the mechanics that we want them to learn very early so that it becomes less of a burden as they get older.
Of course, the park program's huge in Theodore, isn't it? That's always been a big thing down there, so I'm sure that probably helps you too.
I'm gonna have to reach out to the park programs as well and try to do coaches clinics and stuff like that. You know, we're just gonna have to try to get together and gel as one big community. You know?
Right. Coach, talk a little bit about what you're gonna do in the off season. You know, in the summer, and also, you know, before your season starts in the fall. What you do? Yeah,
like Coach said, one big thing is, and I've talked to him about it, but I think we are going to have a coaches clinic that gets our park, and I'm going to get him involved, and we're going to do softball, baseball, and like I said, he's coached with me, and man, he's going to do a great job for the softball program, and so we're going to work together with that. But our guys personally, we lift weights pretty much year round. We have those kids, 7th graders, all the way up to the juniors, because the seniors graduate. We practice during the summer. We lift. We practice 4 days a week, and then when the summer program's done, and we'll lift. And then when August comes, I have a weightlifting program for all our kids at the high school, and we lift. And today we have off day, and we'll lift today. So it's year-round lifting. And you have to, like he was talking about, you got to be bigger and stronger and faster. That's what all athletes are trying to do today. And that's helped us a lot this year on our teams. You know, we've hit a lot of doubles, a lot of home runs, and I tell our kids the weightlifting in the off season is how you get to where you win the games. You know, it's tough, and you know, you got to suck it up, and the kids don't really want to do it when it's June and July, but if you want to be successful, you got to do it.
You got to do it, and we was talking earlier about if you don't do it, then you're behind because everybody else is doing it.
Exactly. So.
Well, listen, I appreciate y'all coming out today to continue success for the rest of the year, and hopefully y'all can get to that state tournament.
I hope so.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.